Every night, after the dishes were done and the floors were clean and everyone else was asleep, Marcus put on his mask. Not a metaphor, a real mask. Because the only place in the world where he was allowed to be himself was a boxing ring. And if his family ever found out, that too would be taken from him. This is the story of a boy who cooked and cleaned and carried everyone, while secretly becoming the best fighter in the world. The house had rules, unspoken ones, but everyone understood them. Marcus worked, Devon rested. Their mother decided who was right. It had been that way for as long as Marcus could remember. Devon was the one who got hurt years ago in a fire. Devon was the one who suffered. Devon was the reason Marcus owed a debt he could never fully repay. Every morning started the same way. Marcus was up before anyone else. Floors swept, breakfast made, and when Devon walked in and said the food was cold without even touching it, their mother would nod and tell Marcus to go reheat it. Marcus would go. Not because he agreed, not because he thought Devon was right, but because he believed, deep in some part of himself, that Devon had sacrificed something for him worse, and that belief kept him quiet when he should have spoken. That belief kept him small. In the ring, none of that existed. He fought under the name Iron Fist. No one knew his real name, no one knew his face. He wore a mask for every fight, and his coach was the only person who knew the truth. His coach had asked him once to take the mask off. The gym was empty, no cameras, no crowd. Marcus said no. Not out of fear, out of protection. If his family found out he was boxing, they would take it the way they took everything else. He was not ready to lose this too. So he kept fighting in the dark, and he kept winning. WBA, WBC, WBO, one belt after another. But at home, he was still the boy who reheated cold food. His girlfriend's name was Sophia. She had been with him for 2 years, and in that time, Marcus had told himself she was different, that she saw him in a way the rest of his family did not. He wanted to believe that. He needed to believe that. But then Devon's back acted up at the dinner table. He knocked over the food. The whole plate hit the floor, and everyone turned to look at Marcus like it was his fault. Sophia looked at him too. Her eyes said, "Just let it go." And he did. That was the moment something shifted. Not dramatically, not with an argument, just quietly, like a door closing in a room no one visits anymore. Devon had the family wrapped around him completely. It was not hard to understand how. He had a story, a good one. Years ago, when they were children, there was a fire. Devon said he pulled Marcus out. He said he hurt his back doing it. He said their father died because of everything that happened that night. And Marcus believed him. He believed it so completely that he had spent years paying for it. Cooking, cleaning, staying silent, accepting every insult as fair payment for a life Devon had supposedly saved. What Marcus did not know was the truth about that fire. Not yet. His mother's birthday came in the spring. Marcus had been saving for months, quietly, carefully, from the money he earned fighting while the rest of the house slept. He put together enough for a reservation at Royal Garden, the most expensive restaurant in the city. Private room, the whole place, just for his family. He put the invitation in an envelope and handed it to his mother. She laughed. She told him it was impossible. She asked where a nobody like him could ever get that kind of money. She said he was lying. She said he was trying to embarrass the family in front of guests. Marcus stood there and said nothing. Then Sophia spoke up. She said she believed him. But then she added that he should not be pranking his family like this, that they loved him without fancy gifts. Marcus looked at her. Loved him. He almost said something. Instead, he said quietly, "You won't have to put up with me much longer." That night, Devon made a phone call. He called a restaurant. He confirmed the reservation was real, and then, without pausing, he gave them a new name. "Randy Meadows," he said. Not Jack, Randy. He took the reservation. He took the credit. He sat at that table and let their mother tell the other guests what a good and generous son he was. Marcus found out when he arrived. Devon smiled at him across the room, the kind of smile that doesn't need words. And something inside Marcus went very still. He asked Sophia to step outside, just for a moment, just to talk. She said no. She said she had promised their mother she would stay with Devon. She said she was sorry. She said the timing was not right. Devon stepped forward and told Marcus to get lost. And that was it. That was the moment. Not a dramatic explosion, just a small, clear realization that settled like dust after a long fall. He was not going to fight for people who had already chosen someone else. He told Devon to his face. He said he had paid his debt. He said it was done. Full payment. Years of service for a fire he had always believed was his fault. Devon looked at him and smiled again. Then he grabbed his own back and cried out in pain. The room turned instantly. Everyone rushed to Devon. People who had been watching the whole argument suddenly forgot what they had seen. Devon was on the floor. Devon was suffering. Marcus stood there. He tried to explain. He said Devon was performing. He said Devon had been performing his whole life. No one listened. That wasn't the worst part. The worst part came when Devon pulled him close, in the chaos while everyone else was distracted. He whispered something into Marcus's ear that changed everything Marcus had ever believed about himself.
Devon said, "I hated you from the day you were born." He said, "I started that fire to get rid of you." He said, "The smoke got too thick and I couldn't get out myself. You didn't owe me anything. You saved me that night, not the other way around." Then he smiled. "And you've been my little servant for years for absolutely no reason." Marcus did not move. He did not react. He just stood there while the room swirled around him, and Devon performed for the crowd, and Sophia reached out to help the wrong person, and something in his chest went completely quiet. He left that night. No dramatic speech, no final warning. Coach was outside waiting in a car the way he always was when Marcus needed a way out. Marcus got in. He did not look back at the restaurant. He did not check his phone. He sat in the back seat and stared out the window at the lights of the city passing by. Coach asked him if he was ready. Marcus said yes. Not for revenge, not out of anger, just because he finally understood something that had taken him his whole life to see. He didn't owe anyone anything. He never had. And the only thing left to decide was what he was going to build now that he knew that. The world tour lasted a full year. 16 cities, 16 fights, 16 wins. Iron Fist became something the sports world had never quite seen before. A champion who never showed his face, who gave no interviews, who appeared, fought, and disappeared. The mystery made people pay attention. The skill made them stay. Back home, the family noticed none of it. Devon was well, their mother was happy, Sophia had moved on, life continued exactly as it had before, except that Marcus was no longer in it. And if they noticed the empty space he left, they did not say so out loud. Then came the night of the unmask. The city had planned a celebration. A local hero had conquered the world. The mayor wanted to introduce Iron Fist to the public. There would be cameras, there would be lights, there would be a moment when the fighter reached up and removed the mask that had hidden his face for 2 full years. Marcus stood backstage and breathed slowly. He thought about the boy who reheated cold food for a brother who had tried to destroy him. He thought about a birthday envelope that got stolen by the same hands it was meant to celebrate. He thought about Sophia's eyes when she chose the wrong person to stand beside. Then he walked out. The crowd went loud, flashbulbs fired, and when he reached up and pulled the mask away, the roar did not stop. It got louder. His face, his real face, for the first time in 2 years, in front of the whole world. Somewhere across the city there was a television on in a house where people were eating dinner. Someone glanced at the screen and went still. Marcus hadn't set out to prove anything to anyone. That's the part that matters most. He didn't build himself up so he could come back and show them what they had missed. He built himself up because he'd finally stopped letting other people tell him what he was worth. The cruelest thing a family can do to a child is make them believe they owe a debt that doesn't exist. Marcus paid that debt for years. He paid it in silence and labor and in love that was never returned. But the moment he stopped paying, he started winning. Some people carry the weight of a lie their whole lives. Marcus put it down on a cold night outside a restaurant and never picked it up again. That is the only move that was ever really his to make. If this story stayed with you, hit the like button and subscribe. New stories are coming every week.